Welcome back to Who's at the Chef's Table with Chef Dan. This week, your hosts, Chef Dan and Doris WithaD, sit down with personal chef and author, Chef Patrick Quinn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Doris WithaD, and here we are at Carrot Express in Coconut Creek, which is our neighborhood. We're so glad to be here. We're at the chef's table today, and today Chef Dan has Chef Pat here with us, and I am absolutely so thrilled to present him to you so that he can tell you what he does, how he does it, and where he comes from and all that other good stuff, because everybody needs to know what Chef Pat is doing. So here we go. How long have you been doing this?
All right, Doris. I've actually been a private chef for about 8 years now. Yep.
Awesome. And where did you train?
So this is what's interesting about my training. I actually was going to go to culinary school. I applied to culinary school at the South Florida, not South Florida, Fort Lauderdale Art Institute Fort Lauderdale. And that year, unfortunately, as you guys know, was a year when they decided to close down. So literally 2 weeks before I was supposed to start.
I knew he was going to say that.
They moved to Tampa.
Yeah.
Yep, they moved to Tampa that year.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's like I'm literally in the middle of a career. I was working for Pepsi at the time, and the career wasn't going the way I wanted to. I was doing my job, but I just had other aspirations. So I felt like, well, if I can't go here, what is my next route? So funny enough, life is amazing. There's no mistakes in the universe and what happens. I end up at an event supporting another chef. Actually, he's a mentor of mine, Chef Richard Ingram. He was at an event in Wynwood at a restaurant called Three, a restaurant by Chef Norman Van Aken. Lo and behold, had a conversation with Chef Norman Van Aken, and he offered me basically a stage. So I got the stage at Three in Wynwood for a year. And I did that, and that's where I really learned so much. In the culinary world, I was surrounded by chefs who went to CIA, and that really is what got me started.
Yeah, so basically what we're talking about here is the pivot.
Yes, it was.
Pivot in the school of hard knocks.
It really was.
Because that's when I talk to chefs and all that. We joke, these people that do the culinary schools that are book smart and never put their hands into it. And you did the right thing.
I just was thrown into the fire, and it was beautiful. I had chefs that would literally tell me all the time, like, man, you know what, Pat? Ask me as many questions as you need to. I respect what you're doing because you don't have to be here. And you're showing up here. You're committing several hours a week to be here and learn. Milk me. Whatever you want, just tell me. Just ask. And I would always ask tons of questions, from how do you sharpen your knives? I mean, how you filleting fish properly? I mean, all these different things. Like, what's the difference in these type of knives? I literally came in so raw. I thought I knew how to cook until you have to really know how to cook. So it's just so many things that were just thrusted to me that I appreciate. Just something as simple as, why do you guys put nuts in the freezer? Had no idea, but like this high-end restaurant, all their walnuts, pecans, all these things they put in the freezer because of the fat content. I didn't think about that. The average person at home doesn't think about that. Exactly. Yes.
I'm the average person. I never knew that.
These are things that I learned being in that environment. So it was amazing. Yeah.
And I live with the chef, and you would think he would tell me these secrets.
You eat them so quick.
Well, this is true. Oh, you're
He's talking
absolutely
about
right.
we get
You're
50
storing,
pounds, 40 pounds. We get big lots of it.
Uh-huh.
But no, this is the thing. Is like more chefs. Part of our thing that people don't understand is when I went to college, I was taught by a German chef, but I had already been cooking
Right.
since I was like 14,
Uh-huh.
and I just went there for the paper because up there you need the paper.
Right.
But the thing is, we were taught pass the craft on, pass that. So that's what they were doing. Those are true chefs.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to call themselves chefs and have secrets and all. That's nonsense. Pass that craft on. That's how we keep it going.
Yes.
That's how those little things that you just said, the freezing the nuts, how to hone the knife, all that. That's how you keep that art alive. Otherwise, everybody just does the same things.
You got to elevate. You got to continue to push the boundaries and just see where food can go. Because food is literally a language. And it's one of the things that one of the reasons I love it is because everybody has to eat. Everybody eat. I don't care what type of food you eat, everybody has to eat. And food brings us together. Food is it's filled with memories. Food can take somebody that's angry and pissed off and bring them to a place where they're just for a moment happy and resolved and calm. So I love everything that it does. So yes, I completely agree that we should not be holding secrets when it comes to food. Just keep sharing as much as you can so the people that truly love it and embrace it and want to do it, continue to elevate it and just continue to create more memories for people.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. I love that you mentioned that it's regional.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also seasonal.
Of
If you
course.
think about it, you know, because in certain seasons we have certain foods,
Yeah.
and then you create your whole menus around those certain foods. Tell people about that,
Yes.
please. They
Well-
need to know.
Well, seasonality, and I'll be honest, because being here in America, you really lose the sense of what seasonality is. Because unfortunately, and I really do mean unfortunately, we have everything available pretty much all the time, which is unfair to the palate. And when you go back to before there were really grocery stores, you did not have a choice. You ate what was you able to grow. And natural certain foods just did not grow. So this is what you ate. So when it comes to eating seasonality, it's a beautiful thing because you get back to how life was before we had this basically commercialized
Yeah.
or industrialized world of eating.
Yeah.
So it really
You look
helps you.
forward
Yeah,
to you look forward to pumpkin pie
exactly.
in October. Now you get it on time, kind of, you know, or the pumpkin spice deal.
Correct.
Now, see, I'm not a pumpkin spice person, but I remember people with pumpkin spice,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, here comes that muff.
Yes.
Now it's like
what a
forget it.
baby.
Now it's like
Going
you're-
back to the
but-
seasons.
no, but like you
Do you
just
know
said,
what
But
I mean?
ideally,
But now
foods
year-round.
are going to taste their best in the season they're grown in.
Exactly.
And that's
Absolutely.
really the benefit. And this is why you have some restaurants that really only have a seasonal menu. You're going to get the best crops during that season.
I agree.
So it's
Yeah.
high, you're going to get intense flavors. You're going to get more natural flavors. Things are going to just be so freaking phenomenal. You'll stop and realize, like, man, I should be eating like this all the time.
Well,
Yeah.
funny you should say that because we recently found a restaurant where,
Couples too.
well, a few restaurants, and it seems to be coming to us for a reason because everything happens for a reason. We noticed this change where all of a sudden everybody's going to seasonality and the quality of the food is better.
Yes.
The quality of the conversation at the table is even better because it shifts everything.
Yes.
We didn't realize how impactful it was until we started having this conversation. And funny, and it's no coincidence that you would mention it at this point.
Yeah.
Now, moving on from there, what style of food do you prefer to cook or to create?
So I will say this. This is what's going to be interesting. And I know I'll get some interesting comments or feedback from this. So I'm plant-based. I don't use the term vegan. I'm not going to say I'm vegan. I'm a plant-based eater.
You looked human
Yeah.
to me.
Exactly. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. So I'm a plant-based eater. And I do prefer to create plant-based dishes, but I cook meat. So this is why I would never call myself vegan because I know a true vegan is never going to cook meat. But yeah, so I'm a plant-based eater. I love to create plant-based dishes, but a lot of the clients that I have, they eat meat. So I make sure this is my craft. I got to
Let
pay
your
my
livelihood-
bills.
let your livelihood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if my clients are the ones eating meat and they're the ones paying the bills, this is what I'm choosing to do.
Look, I mean, so it's the same thing. Like I don't like lamb.
Right.
I don't eat lamb,
Right.
but if I have to cook it,
Exactly. And
You
that's
know,
what's always
certain
amazing. I
things,
love to
like-
tell my clients, especially my new ones, that when they have a dish from me, whether it could be lamb chops, it can be steak, it could be fish, and they have it and they enjoy it. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's so freaking amazing. And I just sit there and I just appreciate the feedback and I say, thank you. Because I have no idea what that tastes like. What do you mean? Like you didn't even taste it. I
Taste
don't
it,
even
you
know.
know.
Exactly.
see, a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know you have the same receptors you have in your tongue, you have in your nose.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
have a big
What
one,
you
so I
smell,
get it.
What you smell is what you taste.
Seriously.
But see, you have better command in the kitchen of flavor. Because chefs, we deal with herbs and spices.
Mhm.
You got the vegetables. You know what goes good. Because we dealt, who was it that we had? Somewhere we had where they used the carrots and they roasted the carrots for the sweetness.
Right.
And I would never even think of that. I would have been
Yeah.
like sugar, brown sugar, palm sugar. And they were like, no, we do I think it was,
I was saying,
but they roasted the
Right.
carrots
Mhm.
for sweetness.
You can even do that with beets. Beets are
Again, but
amazingly
that's the
sweet when
advantage
you
he
roast
has.
them. So
That's
many
the
people
advantage.
don't like beets, but when I tell you, most people don't like beets because they haven't had it prepared the right way. But a roasted beet, when it comes out the oven, it's so tender. It is freaking phenomenal.
See, that's
So,
the thing.
yeah.
He has that advantage.
Yeah.
You know, he has an extra flavor weapon, I'm going to call it.
Yeah, but also realize, look, when I get spice flavors right, and I get marinades right, I don't need to taste meat to know it's going to come out good. You want to make sure you don't overcook it
Right.
or don't undercook it. But when the spices and the marinades are perfect, and I add that to the meat, I know it's going to be amazing. Because here's what I always find funny about folks that call themselves carnivorous. Most people enjoy meat because of the seasoning. They don't enjoy meat for just the meat. So it's like you eat chicken, you eat lamb, you eat fish, you eat all these different things.
Yeah.
It is how it's seasoned, how it's flavored. That's what you're really enjoying. So as long as I understand how to create great marinades, great spice profiles, I know anything I apply that to is going to be phenomenal.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And the proof is how many times, like, you don't eat meat, but how many times does someone say, oh, this needs seasoning, this needs salt, this needs spice.
Yeah.
If it was good, it wouldn't need.
Didn't need it, yes.
Exactly.
And that's
So,
why
you
he's
know.
always told me, taste the food first
Yes.
and then see if it needs a seasoning or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, because I had a chef told me one time, you ever see people when they put the food in front of them, they take the salt and they do this.
Oh, yeah.
He says, why do you want to throw a bunch of rocks on your food? I said, what? He goes,
Salt
salt
is a mineral. Yeah.
comes from the earth.
Yeah.
He goes,
Yeah.
they're putting rocks on your food.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. And so I said, always try it first.
Mhm.
And I was laughing because I'm sitting there going like, rocks, really? But
Yeah. Yeah, my go-to isn't rocks, it's garlic. And that's me. And,
Right.
you know, it's my fault. I love garlic.
It's
I
like-
know
it's
it makes me
incredible.
feel good.
Right.
I know it gives me health. It gives me that spark that I need.
Okay.
And that's why I use it. But not everybody's that way.
No, everybody can't handle it.
No. A lot of people hate it. I mean, you know, is there a dish that you know that people would absolutely love if they would just taste it?
Well, I'll just say right now, one of my favorite dishes that I make that people fall in love with, as she walks by, but
That's okay.
is mushroom
we're
risotto.
live.
I love risottos. Mushroom risotto is one of my favorite dishes to create, and I add a little truffle oil to it. But it is
I
just
mushroom risotto.
it's just phenomenal.
we
It's
just
just-
had that next week.
Yes,
We had
it
that
is.
next
I could eat risotto every day, but I appreciate mushrooms and I put it into that risotto. It allows people who don't like mushrooms to enjoy it. And because I'm plant-based, mushrooms is one of my go-tos. I almost try to have mushrooms almost every day. But there's many people that don't like the texture of mushrooms. And mushrooms have so many great nutritional benefits for our body, for our brain especially. And there's so many different varieties of mushrooms. But people just don't like the texture, whether it's too mushy, too spongy. But when you put that in a risotto with that creaminess, you add that parm to it. And I say parm, for me, vegan parm. But it is freaking phenomenal. So those are one of the things that if I make something for you, you will have that. You will fall in love with it no matter what. You will
Sign me
enjoy
up.
it.
I
We
love
literally had that
mushrooms.
this week.
Yes, we did. It was absolutely delicious. But the thing is, we knew what we were going to go in for because
Right.
we both love mushrooms.
Right.
I have a son who does not like mushrooms. Again, the texture and all that other
Yeah.
kind of thing. I'm just wondering if maybe a little bit more knowledge would help those people cross the bridge into mushroom land.
Well, this is what I've learned. Like, so in my journey just in health, and also I do health coaching as well.
Yeah.
A lot of us, when it comes to what we eat, is habitual, but there's a huge psychological component. Food, like I said earlier, food and memories. I know for myself, there was over 25, maybe even 28 years before I could even consume cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is very healthy, but I had what I consider a traumatic experience with cantaloupe when I was young. The first time I ever had it, I threw up.
Oh,
And from that, I couldn't even stand the smell of it for years. Now, to this day, I'll juice the cantaloupe, eat cantaloupe because I understand the benefits and I enjoy it. I appreciate it. But for me in that time, it gave me a negative rapport towards cantaloupe. And I know that many of us as humans have similar experiences, whether it's tomatoes, it could be some green vegetables. Like for whatever reason, kids don't like green vegetables. Part of it's because as parents, we don't do enough to expose our children at a very young age to a variety of foods.
Right.
So we end up limiting our choices. We limit our preferences at an early age. So it comes back to parents and just parents at early ages exposing your children to as many things as possible to really prime their palates to
Right.
accept more things. But I'll say for people that don't appreciate certain vegetables, the education it can help, but it's still, they have to just learn to let go, maybe even blindfold them, and just give them something in a way where they are unbiased and they just truly allow their palate and their senses to enjoy the experience. Because typically we're going to go into something, if you don't like it, mentally it's hard to even accept it. And I've done, like, I used to have a juice company, and one of my juice combinations was a beet juice. And most, like we said earlier, most people don't like beets. But when I tell you, when I got people just to say, all right, I get it, you don't like it, you don't appreciate it, just take this sip. I would watch literally hundreds of people who did not like beets say, I don't like beets, but I like what you did here.
Right.
And they would enjoy that juice and end up being one of their favorite ones because of the other combination of other things in that juice mixture. But beets was still at the forefront. You can't hide beets in anything.
No.
You can't.
Yeah.
So literally, get them to let go of their inhibitions, let go of any biases, and you can get almost anybody to appreciate and accept new types of food.
Not only that, but the nutrition and the value from it is amazing.
It is, but honestly, the average person doesn't care about the nutritional value. This would be real. Most people don't care about the nutritional value. Does it taste good? Period.
Because they weren't taught that.
Yeah.
Nobody was taught the food that you eat is going to make you look the way you look.
Yeah, see,
Nobody
I
told
had a
you that.
stroke. I had a stroke when I was 41.
Right. So sorry to hear
And
that.
I weighed 262 pounds at my peak.
Wow.
And right now I'm at 215. I don't
Amazing.
like it, and I don't like it. I like to be around two.
Right.
But we went on a cruise and we had family visits. So but the thing is, I had to learn exactly what you're saying. I went to the bookstore to find out about strokes and diet.
Right.
They had one book, Barnes and Noble, big bookstore, one book on stroke, stroke for dummies.
Okay.
Can you
And,
imagine?
and what do they tell you? The same thing. Don't drink, don't smoke, diet, lower your fat, lower your salt. You go to the doctor, they tell you that if you stub your toe. It's the same nonsense. There's no, like she said, there's no education out there.
But that's
So-
ridiculously basic what they're telling
Yeah,
us.
the basic. But
As
then I had
doctors?
one doctor told me, and this is how I started with all this. He said, Thai food.
Don't worry.
Thai food. I'm like, what? He goes, eat the sriracha, eat the spicy stuff. They use less oil. And I'm like, oh, Chinese? He goes, no, not Chinese. Thai food.
Well, cayenne is great for blood pressure. You don't even realize it. I mean, cayenne pepper literally will help your blood flow, will help thin your blood, the natural blood thin.
Yeah.
It'll help you increase your
But
blood
they
flow.
don't tell you. See, you're not a doctor. A doctor won't tell you that.
Right.
The doctor's going to tell you, here's a pill for that.
Well, I want to say this without offending doctors, but what I've learned is that the majority of medical schools don't put a lot of emphasis on nutrition. The average doctor that comes out of medical school probably has less than 2 courses of nutrition. So when you find a doctor, you find a primary care doctor that can talk about nutrition, hold on to them. Because typically those doctors are doing that because they genuinely want to learn more about how food impacts the body. So they take additional courses. But this is why you probably have so many doctors who just give you generic information, because it wasn't the focus of their programming. So they learn more about everything else. So they have more of a general knowledge when it comes to food when they're making their recommendations to you. Yeah.
Right.
Your hosts, Chef Dan and Doris WithaD. Thank you all for watching this delicious episode of Who's at the Chef's Table with Chef Dan. Join us next week for more culinary adventures. This show's a proud production of SoFloDining. Head over to SoFloDining.com to subscribe for free to our online magazine, packed with awesome features, discounts, and South Florida dining tips. SoFloDining is your go-to guide for all things tasty in the Sunshine State. See you soon!